welcome to Beyond the Surface, the podcast. From the ancient practice to its modern day symbolism, we dive beyond tattooing and its connection to our inner selves. I'm your host, Caroline. Welcome. Hello and welcome to Beyond the Surface, the podcast. I am so excited to have you here and want to thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode, which is about why you cannot drink alcohol both before and right after your tattoo session. This podcast is sponsored by Wigan University, which is a platform where you get to know all about yourself in a holistic way. So you get to know yourself through trauma healing and yoga and anything else that you feel like is important for you to know in regards to your holistic health and your body. So whether you're out walking, whether you're at home and just relaxing, I encourage you to drink some tea, some hot cocoa, maybe coffee if you feel like it, and let's go beyond the surface together. So you may have heard not to drink alcohol both before and after your session. And we will dive into some specific reasons why this is recommended. And since this is a spiritual tattoo podcast, we will also dive into the spiritual aspects of why it's not good to drink before your session. So coming into the spiritual aspect, many tattoo artists advise against consuming alcohol. And from a spiritual standpoint, the recommendation is deeply rooted in the idea of maintaining a clear and focused mind during the whole tattooing process. So in various traditions and cultures, getting a tattoo is seen as a very sacred ritual. We've spoken about this before. And this also means that the tattooing process involves the transfer of energy. And so having a clear mind allows for a more profound connection between you as the person who's getting tattooed, as well as the artist and just the symbolic meaning behind the tattoo that you're getting. So if you are under the influence of alcohol, this will most likely not make you able to connect with your ancestors or whomever you want to connect with in that given moment. And it ensures that the energies remain pure and just undisturbed during the whole process. I'm not sure if it is scientifically proven, like through studies of, the language, but I have heard stuff about alcohol deriving from the word alcohol, which means body-eating spirit. And as far as I know, there's not been a scientifically proof to this, but to me at least it makes sense because if you listen to the words body-eating spirit or mind-eating spirit, it is technically the term of your body getting so intoxicated that your soul kind of leaves the body for a moment until your body is safe to return to, which is in the spiritual world why we say when you have a blackout, that is literally your soul leaving your body until it's safe to return. Now, whether you want to believe it or not, I am sure that we can all agree that being drunk whilst getting a tattoo does not ensure a very spiritual and amazing moment for you to enjoy. Now, if we look at the scientific aspect, consuming alcohol can have several physiological effects on the body and can physically interfere with the tattooing process. So when you consume alcohol, you're drinking something that is thinning your blood, and this makes you prone to bleeding during the session, and we as artists cannot see what we're doing if there's excessive bleeding, because it's very challenging to work with if your body's bleeding excessively, especially if you're getting something colored like a light green or yellow because we cannot see through the pigments, and it's just a messy scene, honestly. And it can make it very difficult for us to be very precise in our lines that we're creating, and yeah, just as I said, just overall messy. Um, which is like, this is the main reason why we advise people not to drink beforehand, because it's just annoying to work with. And also from a like judgmental point of view, it can impair your judgment so much. Like, if you come into a shop and you're on holidays, you're a bit drunk, and you get something, you might not be fully able to comprehend what you're getting, and you might not explain to your artist thoroughly what you want, and they might not know what you want and just create something that wasn't really your idea. And in terms of pain, um, alcohol will make you a lot more sensitive, and it just makes the process so much more uncomfortable than it needs to be. It's hard enough as it is already, so why make it more difficult for yourself? And especially if you've just come home from going out and you have a hangover. I haven't tried it myself, but I cannot imagine it being nice at all. It must suck a lot to get a tattoo while having a hangover. And now, in terms of the aftercare considerations, because it's not just before the tattoo and during the process, the aftercare is crucial. And so many people blame their artists on not having delivered the result that you as a client want. And oftentimes it might not be the artist's fault, it might be your aftercare. So, just a reminder, listen to your artist and follow the instructions that they give you, because if something happens, they will be able to trace it back to something. They will know what you've done and what you haven't done. But in terms of the aftercare, I would recommend at least not um, maybe 24 to 48 hours after. Not necessarily because you're going to bleed a lot, but more the holistic aspect of it. You want your body to be healthy and regenerate, because getting a tattoo is a trauma that you're causing to the skin. And if you've noticed, when you get angel skin on, or when you just get the cling wrap around, the tattoo that you've just gotten, you will notice that there's like a gel mass around it, or there will be like a, excess fluid. And this is, well, first of all, it's excess ink, but it's also lymphatic fluid, so like plasma. And it is an open wound, so your body needs to heal. And if you've served it alcohol for 3 days straight, it might not be able to heal as good as it could have had you not been on a bender. And drinking alcohol also dehydrates your body. And as we know, the skin is the largest organ in the body, and getting a trauma to the skin, your body needs to be able to heal itself. And if it's dehydrated and your immune response is down, then it can lead to complications like delayed healing, and you also risk the possibility of an infection, and it just affects the overall outcome of your tattoo. So I would recommend not drinking again 1 to 2 days after. It's not that it necessarily hurts a lot, like hurts the result of your tattoo, but it might not heal as you wanted it to. And this will also make it complicated for your artist to locate, if there's an infection, to locate where exactly in the process something went wrong. If a client comes to us and they have an infection, we always want to ask the questions, what did you do straight after? Did you go swimming? Did you go clubbing? All this stuff. And if you lie to us and tell us that you've, followed our guidance and you've followed the tips that we've given you, it is very difficult for us to trace wherein the mistake lies. And this is not just for you, this is also for us, if it's a mistake on our behalf, we need to fix it, and we need to be able to know how it happened and how we can fix it. Let's say you've booked in a session with your artist, and you want to go clubbing, on the day of your session. Depending on how big of a piece it is, I would probably recommend you having a chill day, if you're getting a really big piece done. If it's a small one, I wouldn't really worry too much, to be honest. But if you go out, then I would either move your session, to a few days prior or a few days after. If it's a very small one, honestly, I wouldn't think too much about it. If it's covered enough and you don't have any issues, with it hurting or your body being tired, don't worry about it. But if you're getting a bigger piece done and your session has lasted a full day, don't underestimate how traumatizing it can be for the body, in terms of how tired it is. And you might experience fatigue afterwards. I even have some clients that feel a bit sick afterwards, and this is totally normal. This is just your body reacting to, enduring pain for so many hours. But regardless, I would say that whether it's from a spiritual or scientific perspective, just in general, avoid alcohol before and after a session. It's not just a recommendation, but it's just a practice, I think, that's rooted in ensuring a positive and meaningful experience, and also ensures you that the results of the tattoo have a better chance of being good. Because if you get a tattoo and straight after you go swimming, and then you drink your body weight in alcohol, and you sleep poorly and you're tired, then again, you might not get the results that you were expecting because your body has had such a hard time healing itself. Overall, getting a tattoo is, of course, a personal journey, but you can expect, if you show up drunk at least, to a session, that your artist will turn you away. Again, because it's going to get messy with the blood. And don't forget that it's uncomfortable for us too. We sit with people all day, and it gets very personal. In terms of us, having to be in physical contact with people all the time. But also having a drunk person and us not knowing what the results might be, because we don't know how your body and your mental health reacts to it. It just makes it uncomfortable for us to not be sure of the results that we can provide to you. Keep your body, clear of toxins, eat healthy before your session, make sure to drink loads of water, and make sure that your body is a vessel that is going to be good both for the physical aspect of it, of the ink getting into your skin, but also the spiritual aspect of you receiving the tattoo and enjoying the session and being present, and overall just being a part of the process in a way that you just cannot if you are drunk or in any way on something. This was the episode. I hope that you learned something and that it answered a few of your questions. I get these a lot, why people are not recommended to drink before and after a session. And once you get the hang of it, it's really, really easy. Fortunately, I have never had a client showing up drunk to a session, but I have had many young girls who wanted to go out straight after, and I just would not recommend it. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode, and thank you so much, Working University, for sponsoring the podcast. It is so amazing, and thank you to everyone who gave feedback on last week's podcast with Marcella. It was such an enjoyment having a guest on, and I very much want to do that a lot more. But let me know what you like, if you like it with just me talking or if you like it with a guest, because I would love to have some more people on, and I am in the process of getting some more fellow artists on that, like Marcella, have a spiritual view on tattooing and just everything art related. So, thank you so much for listening to today's episode. You can find the podcast on Beyond the Surface, the podcast, on every platform. If you want to book in a session with me, you can either send me a DM on Instagram at Miss Kali Tattoos or send me an email at misskalitattoos@gmail.com. But thank you so much for listening. If you liked the episode, consider sharing it with your friends and family, and I cannot wait to see you again next week. Bye.